Hi, I'm Dave Wurzel, and you're watching Pet Care on PHTV4. On Pet Care, we take a look at a variety of topics related to keeping our pets safe, happy, and healthy. All right, that's our mix we're working. And to look at some of the topics we're going to look at, especially one today, dealing specifically with summer-type issues, I've got on my right Dr. Rachel Thomas, who is a veterinarian at Palos Animal Hospital on Harlem Avenue in Palos. And on her right, we've got Jennifer Fisher, who is a volunteer and president of Traveling Tales Dog Rescue. And they both have, extensive experience working with pets. And so we're gonna tap into their expertise and take a look. Today's topics, this is oddly unpleasant for a variety of reasons for a lot of people. We're gonna talk about insects. I'm not a fan of them. I get their importance in the ecosystem. I love being outside, but no, I don't want to get the mosquito bite. I don't want to pick up a tick. I love going for a hike in the forest reserve. I like going for a bike ride on the bike paths. But just like we're at risk, pets are at risk in the same situation, right? So let's talk about first, thank you for being here. Let's talk about first that whether you're out in the forest reserve or it could be your backyard, your yard, going for a walk in the neighborhood, mosquitoes are probably one of the most prevalent insects out there, I'm guessing.
They really are, especially when we're outside, even just sitting on your back porch, having a good time with your family. They are out and they are about, and they can be annoying for our dogs, just like they can be for us.
So even if our dog is like thick fur or full fur, they're still at risk.
They are, and especially because mosquitoes are actually the vector that transmits heartworm disease, which is one of the big concerns that we talked about on one of our previous segments. Mosquitoes bite the dog and they transmit the baby worm that then spends the next 4 to 7 months traveling through the blood vessels to mature and then become an adult heartworm. And so when we deal with this, we definitely want to make sure that our dogs are on a monthly heartworm prevention.
Okay, so you've painted a pretty scary picture there.
Definitely.
We want to avoid. So, I mean, we want to have our dog outside. How do we protect it from mosquitoes, though? Because we're not going to spray it with off, right? I mean, that's not.
No, we do not want to spray dogs with off. That is
Don't do
definitely
that.
a good thing there. So
Don't
there
do it.
are things that we can do. So trying to keep your dog out in the areas that are a little bit less dense with the grass is one of the things that we can do.
Okay.
There are bandanas that will have some kind of a natural repellent that is in them, like a citronella type thing.
Okay.
But we also do have pet products that are safe that are in the context of flea and tick preventions that are also repellent of mosquitoes.
Now, can they pick those up at pet stores, or is that something they pick up from their vet?
You can always talk with your veterinarian about getting your pet a prescription for one of these products.
All right, so there is that option. Jen, I know you talked about this once before, dealing with a pet who has heartworm, So one more cautionary tale. Why do we have to do everything possible to avoid that encounter?
Heartworm disease it's very painful for the dogs. If they do get the disease, they end up having to get injections, and it's quite a process. First they're on doxycycline, right, for like 30 days, and they wait 30 days, and they do a first injection, wait another 30 days, and do 2 more injections back to back. That's recommended by the American Heartworm Association, I believe. And that experience it's very hard on the dogs. It wears them out. They don't feel well.
You're not going to have your pet like you like your pet to be, right?
It's painful for them. So it's hard to see them suffer, and it's such a simple prevention. I mean, basically, if they're on heartworm prevention, you're preventing this terrible disease from happening, and it can be fatal if it's not treated as well.
Okay. So we got a couple things there. One is avoid some of the density in forest reserves or tall grass or whatever. Try to that. Second thing is maybe go to your veterinarian and get some type of repellent that'll help them repel mosquitoes. Probably most important, it sounds like, is do something against the heartworm. I mean,
preventing heartworm disease is
stay in front of that. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the other ones, because mosquitoes aren't the only risk out there. There are other problems, right? We've got fleas and ticks, and I'm assuming they can pick those up in the backyard too, let alone the forest reserve. What are the risks with fleas and ticks? Why is that a problem?
Sure, let's talk about them each kind of as their own. So fleas can cause a itchiness, and they can make your dog scratch. They can also transmit diseases like tapeworms, and they can go ahead and in really young animals or really debilitated animals actually cause so much blood loss that it can make them anemic or have too low of a red blood cell count. And so trying to prevent fleas is one of the ways that we can do this, and any dog that goes outside has the potential to pick them up. In the same breath of that, any dog that goes outside does have the potential to pick up a tick potentially. Ticks carry a lot of different diseases, and there are several that they can, including one of the ones that most people know about is Lyme disease, but there are also Ehrlichia and anaplasmosis, which are two other common diseases that ticks can carry. And so if your dog goes outside, if they're spending any time in tall grass, going hiking, I would recommend that your dog be on flea and tick prevention.
Okay, another thing they pick up from their veterinarian.
Yeah.
Are there over-the-counter things in a pet store?
There are some that are over the counter, yes.
Okay. All right. A lot of other scary reasons to take care of your pet. And Jen, I want you to talk about like how you take care of your pets in regards to that. But and maybe as a quick side note before that, are we also talking about, we're talking about dogs now, but I'm assuming if somebody takes their cat out, I haven't seen too many people walk a cat, but like maybe put them in the harness and they take their cat out like that. Any pet that goes outside, I mean, if they take, you know, I don't know, a hamster and they leave the cage outside, or any pet can pick up any of these things.
Sure, any of these critters can go ahead and find
Ferret.
a flea. A ferret definitely can get fleas and ticks as well, and it's actually one of the common things is people will take their dog outside, but they say, oh, my cat doesn't go outside, she's indoor only, he's indoor only. But if one of these critters hitches a ride on you or on your dog and they bring it into the cat and the cat isn't on prevention, the dog might not have signs of this and the dog might not develop this or the ticks might fall off the dog, but your cat is unprotected at that point.
So there's other ways this thing can get inside the house.
Correct.
Right. So, and I guess I wanted to kind of clarify that and come back to that, that even if we're talking about outside, there's still a potential risk inside, and we've all had the experience where a mosquito gets in the house.
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
Or we're going to get to another insect. I mean, Jen, how about your experience dealing with animals in this situation? How have you cared for them?
We've actually had quite a few cases of Lyme disease, and also we've had some Ehrlichia and some anaplasma. And some of our rescue dogs, my own personal dog, my dog Danica, my oldest, she came from the Middle East and she had Ehrlichia. That's a tick-borne illness. And my other dog that I had before that here, I got from Animal Welfare League actually, had Lyme disease twice. And what's really crazy about it is I had her on preventatives, but we live close to the woods. So even through all of that, you know, she still got ticks. So my recommendation would be, even if your dog's on preventatives, if you're walking through the woods or really a big hiker or something, it is important to check even after that for ticks, because sometimes they still get on your animals. And it just takes one bite and they can transmit disease. I also would highly recommend in our area here to get the Lyme vaccine. Really, because we have the woods here, we have deer ticks, you know, and it's easy to get Lyme disease if you're a dog here.
And all these things are much better or easier to manage if you're up front instead of trying to treat them afterwards. I think we talked before that, like cats, there is no heartworm treatment for them, no cure for that, right?
There's none that are approved, yes.
Approved, yeah. And like Jen, you're saying that we do live in an area, we're surrounded by forest reserve, and whether you go into the forest reserve or not, they're in the area, yeah. Yeah, you raised kind of several issues there that and different things that people need to stay in front of, you know, to get. I'm going to throw one other insect that I, you know, only because I've seen, like when we had dogs, like want to catch them or play. I've seen cats do this too, like a spider they find in the house. Are spiders an issue here, at risk? Are they a problem in some way?
So that is a great question, and the answer is that it depends on the type of spider. So a lot of our common house spiders aren't necessarily going to pose a problem, but there are spiders that can have a poisonous or venomous bite to them, such as the brown recluse spider. And so if you do see your animal playing with the spider, try to get a good picture of it so that way you can go ahead and make sure that you can identify it. And if there's questions, contact your veterinarian to get aid.
And in that case, it's better safe then. Like if you have any questions, I'll check.
Yes.
Check with the veterinarian and what's not. Wait. All right, well, thank you. I mean, that you raised a lot. I mean, you know, get the vaccines, wear the collar, maybe get a repellent of some kind, do this all through your vet, be smart. And then that way you can avoid a lot of these illnesses that you know, don't want to see your pet suffer through, right? All right. Jen, Dr. Rachel, thank you very much for being here this morning. Thank you for taking a look at this topic. Any other advice you want to throw out there before we move off this one?
So like Jen said, I really do encourage the Lyme vaccine, especially if you do intend to take your pet out into the outdoors and do a lot of hiking. If you are questioning if that's right for your pet, contact your veterinarian and then set up an appointment so that way you can discuss it. And if you are going to be going outdoors, do take into account that there are other critters. We're talking about insects, but we also have raccoons, there are coyotes, there are possums that are out there, we have deer. So be aware of where they are in the environment and be aware of your surroundings when you're out there.
Okay. All right. A lot of good warnings there. All right. Thanks again, Jen. Thank you, Dr. Rachel. You've been watching Pet Care on PHTV4, and we've been visiting with Jen Fisher, who is the volunteer and president of Traveling Tales Dog Rescue, and Dr. Rachel Thomas from Palos Animal Hospital. Thank you for watching, and keep your pets safe.